Welcome back to Booze and Rocks. My name is David Edwards, and today I'm going to use some lemon, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to garnish a Corpse Survivor number 2. But first, this. All right, so let's get into this. The original Corpse Survival was first written about in the Gentleman's Guide from 1871, written by Rickett and Thomas. However, we're not here for that. What we are here for is the second iteration of that comes to us from the Savoy Cocktail Book. Now that was written in 1930 by Harry Craddock. And Harry Craddock, interestingly enough, is an American who during Prohibition in the 20s came over to London to work at the Savoy Hotel in the American bar. Now this gave him the option to actually play with a bunch of liquors and alcohols that were unavailable previously to him for some reason, such as the Absinthe ban of 1912 in the US. So he's given us this really famous cocktail that's a lot like a gin sour. But you know what? It's not a gin sour. Let's make it and get into it. So the first thing, of course, I need is my mixing glass. Now this is an easy cocktail with very, very simple ratios. We're going to use 3/4 of an ounce or 22.5 mils for every single thing that we put in. So of course, the first thing we need is a little bit of stuff on the ground. And I'm completely flustered. It's the Spirit of York gin, which of course is a gin from Toronto. And it's got one hell of a good cork on it. Like, it's got serious cork action. So we need 22 mils, 22.5 mils, which is actually 3/4 of an ounce. Next, we need a little bit of Cointreau. Now you could choose to use another orange curacao or a triple sec, but I'm going to use the original like the recipe calls for. Those other ones will change the flavors and will adjust the sweetness again depending on what you're using, but it is your cocktail and it's the way you want to make it. So we want 3/4 of an ounce, 22.5 mils. We also want a little bit of Lillet. And we're going to use Lillet Blanc. Now originally this recipe would have used a Quino Lillet. Now the Quino Lillet of course had quinine in it, which they stopped production in. So this is what we're left with. So the flavors are slightly different. Now you could use a different type of fortified wine. I believe the Educated Barfly used Cocchi Americano when he made his version of this. So we want 22.5 mils, 3/4 of an ounce. And of course, last but not least, we want a little bit of lemon. So we need about half a lemon, which will give us the 3/4 of an ounce that we need. Again, depending on your size of the lemon. Looking pretty good. So we're gonna shake this with a little bit of ice. And we'll do this for a good 10 to 15 seconds because we're gonna cool it and we're just gonna break down the the lemon juice a little bit. Apparently I'm colorblind and I think lemons are limes half the time and limes are lemons. I have some issues. Oh yes, look at that. So the first thing we need to do is, of course, we're going to take our coupe glass. And what we're going to do is we're going to give it an absinthe spray. Now the original recipe calls for a dash of absinthe to coat the inside of the glass and then you throw away the rest. I, however, don't want to waste the absinthe, so an atomizer here, like just from the dollar store, $2, and you know, you're good to go. And this will give us an anise black licorice flavor on the glass itself. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fine strain this just because I want to keep the ice shards out. Looking good. But we're going to garnish this. And again, garnishing is your choice. You don't have to. However, I'm going to use a lemon twist and I'm going to do this directly over the glass because this will help add some of the lemon citrus oils directly to the glass. And we're going to express this directly into the glass. We'll wipe it around the edge and that'll give us some more. You're going to take your fancy knife of indeterminate size and we're going to just clean the edges in a very bad knife handling fashion that you just saw there. And I'm going to give this a bit of a twist. And we're going to do this and make this look pretty, because a pretty garnish is the right type of garnish. Actually, you can garnish it any way you want. Doesn't really matter. And there you go. A nice little lemon twist to go with this cocktail. So let's give it a smell. Well, it smells good. The immediate thing that you get, of course, is the scent of the lemon from the citrus oils immediately off the peel. And you get just a faint hint of black licorice just on the edge there. You don't smell the gin at all. You don't smell the orange curacao or the Lillet. Oh, that is really good. That is good. It's not overly tart like you would think a gin sour would be. It's clean, it's well balanced. The Cointreau balances out the gin very nicely, and the Lillet, it all blends together very, very nicely. And just that slight hint of the anise from the absinthe, really, really good. I can see why this is as popular as it is. Oh yeah. And of course my Garnish is trying to like take me out. But you know what? I think you'll like this. This is perfect for an afternoon in the sun, after supper, or just anything you might want to do with it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the ingredients and the method of how to make this down in the description down below. If you think I should use a different type of gin or a different orange curacao or even a different fortified wine or absinthe, leave that down in the comments down below. And let me know why, because I love the good conversation that we can derive by building different types of cocktails. But if this is your first time to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell notification. That way, every time I put up a new video, you'll be notified. But if you don't like an awesome classic cocktail, hit the thumbs down button twice, and we'll see you next time. The original Corpse Reviver was first written about in 1871 in the Gentleman's Guide, of course, by Thomas N. Riddick. Now, it had been around previous to that in different The original Corpse Reviver, of course, was first written about in 1871 in the Gentleman's Guide by Thomas N. Riddick. Now, this cocktail, now it was around previous to that in different versions, but this is the one